We're back. I guess summer vacation is over, and we're back to work. So I'm guessing you have some questions. But first, I'll just say, last year was a budget year. It was a very busy year. We got a lot done. There's still implementation unfolding. But this year, I would expect some degree of a supplemental budget. There's always little things that need to be funded that we didn't know about in the on year. And then I also anticipate that we'll be doing a capital investment bill, and I've had good conversations with Republican leaders and the new Senate Majority Leader to get us headed in that direction. Do you want to add anything?
What about school resource officers? Are you moving fast enough for the minority?
Well, of course not. But we are moving quickly, and we are moving thoughtfully. So today there will be a hearing in education policy. Tomorrow there'll be a hearing in public safety finance. Wednesday there will be a hearing in Ways and Means, and then we expect the bill on the floor early next week. Now, we've been working intensively since August on this. Keep in mind that the changes that happened in law were one of the changes was in an education policy bill that was heard several times and debated on the House floor. And then there was another change that was in the education finance bill that was debated in committee several times and also on the House floor. So these didn't come from nowhere, but we will send them through the process again, and we will clarify so that everybody has the clarity that they need.
How about the sports betting bill?
Yeah, it's funny because in light of the Super Bowl yesterday and watching all the ads that were on there, it's of course very top of mind for lots of people today in particular. There are Democrats and Republicans who would like to pass a sports betting bill. There are Democrats and Republicans who oppose passing a sports betting bill. I think those who are in support are having good conversations together. So I'm hopeful they'll come to an agreement that we can get passed.
Equal rights amendment, big rally today, gets through this year?
I believe that it does. The only question is the phrasing. The timing of the election is likely to be on the ballot in 2026, although we'll pass the question in 2024 to be on the ballot in 2026. Well, I think it's important that there's clarity. As a woman, the Equal Rights Amendment has generally been seen as an equal rights for women issue. But if the law doesn't change at all because we pass an Equal Rights Amendment, has it done anything? I think we need to be absolutely clear that there is legal effect to the language and that the language protects reproductive freedom and expressions of gender identity.
We've seen other states like New York also do Equal Rights Amendment with reproductive rights language included. And so I think we're looking to some examples that we've seen around the country, and there's been a lot of good work done in the interim.
And a good chance to motivate your base and voters to get them out. You want to keep control of the House, I'm guessing.
Well, that's not a reason to do a constitutional amendment. When you look at things that different majorities have done over the years for maybe political reasons, those have not been good amendments, and they have not served the public, and they have not served the majorities who put them on the ballot hoping to stay in power. So I think what we have to look at when we're amending the state's constitution is this something we want to be in the Constitution for decades to come? Will it last the test of time?
Will censure state legislation get a floor vote?
I don't believe that there are the votes for that bill to move in the House or the Senate.
Why is that?
You'd have to ask all of the members, but I just don't think there's the votes.
Is it too controversial for an election year?
I don't think a lot of us know completely what's in it or what the authors had in mind of why they introduced the bill.
Coming back to keeping control of the chamber, what's the case do you have to start making now?
Well, we usually think about that once we leave here. We're pretty focused on the work here. Even though we're not in divided government right now, I believe in the maxim that after the election, you take off your red jerseys and your blue jerseys, you put on your Minnesota jersey. I don't know if that's purple and gold or maroon and gold, and you do the work of the people of Minnesota. The election could be about issues we don't foresee. It's largely driven by national issues, and it kind of takes care of itself. So I think if while we're here, we're focused on doing good work for the people of Minnesota, and we'll worry about the election later.
How much of a restraint will this structural deficit they're talking about for 26-27, how much will that hamper your efforts this year?
Well, there is a structural imbalance in the tails, but there's a quite significant surplus in the next 2 years. So over the next 4 years, the budget is balanced. There are surpluses as far as the eye can see. Today, we just got a report from MMB that the collections most recently were $313 million higher than expected. So I think Minnesota continues to be a state where people work at high rates, and we have a very strong state economy. So we're doing better than the national economy. The forecast is always based on the national economy, but Minnesota does just a little bit better.
What about the assault weapons ban bill that just got introduced the other day? I've been getting lots of questions from people about that bill. Is that something that's going to see any action?
Well, we worked for probably a decade on the 2 gun violence prevention measures that passed last year. We passed the red flag law, which we already know has been used, and universal background checks. And so I think that before we're sure of what the next step is on gun violence prevention, we need to have lots of stakeholders coming together, lots of discussion. I don't know that that one's ready to go this year, but I know the ones we passed last year were really worked on for a very long time.
What do you say to all the groups? You're saying it's going to be a lighter agenda, but there's a lot of people here, and there's, I'm sure, groups reaching out to you all to ask for different things. I mean, what is your message to different constituencies who want to spend some of this?
Well, we put an enormous amount of work on the executive branch's plate last year, and they will need some time to be able to implement everything. When you look at paid family leave coming online in the future, people being able to take time off to take care of a child or somebody who's sick in their family, these kinds of things that will really improve people's lives, it's going to take a couple years for everything we did in 2023 to come into full effect.
Is the election and the upcoming vote, does that have any bearing on what you guys are doing this session, or are you guys kind of just...
In 2019, if you would have predicted what the 2020 election would have been about, you would have picked completely different issues than the pandemic and the murder of George Floyd and its aftermath. So I would say that in my years in politics, I've seen you cannot predict what the election will be about. So when people come to St. Paul, they should just focus in on doing good work, trying to find common ground with people on the opposite side of the aisle. And then we'll get to the election. We'll certainly have a full, feisty competition, but that can kind of wait until basically August and September. Minnesotans like to enjoy summer from about Memorial Day to Labor Day, and then they really want to talk about maybe who they're going to vote for.
Adoption still a thing?
Yes, absolutely. We got the ball rolling last year, and we had a report come out at the beginning of February that shows that we have different options we can pursue. But we know that too many Minnesotans are without health care access altogether, or without access to health care they can use. So that's going to be a topic of conversation we're trying to move this year if we can.
4 votes?
What's that?
4 votes?
I hope so.
This does not look comfortable. We'll have to do better next time. All right. Well, nice to see you all.
Thank you
Welcome
all.
back. Thank you.